Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and come on down to mediocre camp where nothing's that good and it's all kind of boring and I'm kind of already done with it. Alright, so this game is called Summer Camp and it's basically baby's first deck building game, and the theme is that you're at a summer camp and it's all, nice and wonderful and really like kid friendly and family friendly. There's no reference to Jason. No Friday the 13th stuff going on here. Not even sleepaway camp. They don't even bring that up at all, which is just it's just tons of missed opportunity here, I say. So this is a deck building game where you're building a deck to advance on these 3 separate tracks. The further you get along on the track, the more points you get, right? So it's like whoever gets to the end of each individual track first will get points. Like the first person to do it will get a certain amount of points. The second person will get fewer, and so on. And there's also marks like when you get all 3 of your meeples past this certain mark towards like the middle of the track, you'll get points. And then when you move all 3 of them towards this other middle point of the track, you'll get more points, right? It's the classic, do you want to focus on this one track or do you want to focus a little bit on each track, trying to split your attention there. You get tons of little theme packs of cards like friendship and games and cooking and sports or whatever, right? Like, so you don't have just like a single main deck of cards from which you are buying. You have a couple stacks of all the same cards. There's like one that's 2 money, one that lets you move on any path, and one that lets you cycle through cards. But then all of these little theme packs of cards will have different flavors towards them. Like one of them is more about like everybody gets something. One of them's more about like if your opponents do this, then you do that. And one of them helps you draw cards and things like that. But they're all very minor because each one of those theme packs, you're going to pick 3 of the like 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever they give you. You're going to pick 3. And each pack is corresponding to a specific path, right? There's the 3 paths that you need to move your meeples down. That's the main, goal of the game. That's how you get points. And like the cooking one is going to be moving you along the cooking path. So like half the cards in that deck are going to be moving down the path, right? There's going to be a couple of cards that let you move 2 spaces down the path, and a couple of cards that let you move 3 spaces, and you all start with one that lets you move 1. So really only half of the cards in each pack are like the unique flavor types of things. And the unique flavor thing is really kind of basic. Like I said earlier on, I was joking around, I said, this is like baby's first deck building game. But this certainly is an intro-y game, an intro to deck building game. I mean, it's kind of a little bit different, right, with those moving along the path things, right? So it's not just building a deck, and it's not just a purely card game. You have a board and you have a couple other things to focus on. But I mean, that's kind of like Clank, right? I mean, in Clank, you are building a deck and you're moving down a dungeon, right? Like nothing in this game really jumps out at me as being different. It feels so very basic. That's why I said mediocre earlier. It's just the most watered down, starter deck building game that there possibly could be. Now I feel like I'm kind of trashing on this game, and it doesn't fully deserve it. Like it's a well-designed game, right? Like it isn't, there's no like flaws in it. It's not like, oh, well, this is one obviously, bad thing, or this is obviously a dominant strategy. Nothing really like that. And there are some interesting choices. And when you move along the track, when you land on certain spaces, they could give you little bonuses that could even let you move more. So you kind of combo a little bit. Well, I'm going to play this card first, which will let me move up here, which will let me draw a card. Hey, this card lets me move. I'll move this meeple over here, which will let me move again, which means I'll move this guy over here, actually, which will let me gain an extra money, which will let me do this. And that's cool. But again, that's what a deck builder is. Like I'm saying, ooh, it has this stuff in it. Yeah, but so does every deck builder has that. What does this one do that separates it from everything else? The answer is not really that much. It doesn't even have a lot of culling in the cards. In fact, I don't even remember if there are any culling cards. There are, like, to remove cards from your deck, that you remove your starter cards. There is in the stack of, cards that everybody can buy in the basic stack, a card that'll let you cycle through. You play this card, you can burn up to 3 cards from your hand to redraw, and that does not feel as good as just culling cards. Culling cards is a lot better in my opinion. It's a lot more fun. And also there's a big problem where the flop for the non-basic cards, for those theme packs, like they could be really expensive. Like some of the ones, they could be like 6 to 8 cost, which is expensive. You have to have some better cards in order to buy those. I suggest that if you flop them out like that, the very first turn, burn them and try and get a couple of cards out there that cost like 3. Because otherwise, everybody's just going to buy those basic cards because that's all they can afford. Everybody's deck's going to feel the same. Your experience is going to be pretty mediocre. Just overall, I played this game twice, and I'm kind of done with it. Again, it's a well-designed game. It works for what it's trying to do, to be an intro to deck builder game. And we need intro games, right? But do we really? Like, at this point, there are so many, and I have so many that I'm just kind of done with them. Like when somebody says, you know, oh, we're getting a new intro game in, or if I play a new intro game, I'm like, yep, that's great, that's cool, but I don't need it. I've got, like, I own King of Tokyo, I own Star Realms, which I think is probably the best intro to deck building game. You know, I own enough to where I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. Now I would like to move on. You know, and that's just me personally.
Me personally.
I'm kind of done with intro games. One positive on the game, though, is that it does come with a little friendship bracelet, which I think is great. More games should come with cool, you know, innovative stuff like that. But other than that, pretty much everything I said, that's all I have to say about it. You know, I mean, again, it's mediocre. And at the state we are in the gaming industry, I feel like that almost makes it bad. Like, we don't have room for mediocre games right now, because there's so many clever games, so many good games out there, that this one, by being just right in the middle, is falling pretty short. Okay, but I always put a link to the game to review in the description box down below so you can buy it, because we can get money that way. You know, we always have to end the videos kind of the same way. I like parallel construction. I like, you know, when we end our movies all the same. We got links in the description box down below. You got something about game toppers. There's probably going to be something down there for subscribe. You know the drill. Boom.